Good day, teachers! Welcome to another Teach Thursday session, and for this time, I am going to re-echo what I've learned from the seminar on CEM.
I could be red, or I could be yellow, I could be blue, or I could be purple, I could be green or pink or black or white, I could be every color you like. What's your color? What's your color? I wanna know. I could be red, or I could be yellow, I could be blue, or I could be purple.
The speaker for that seminar was Dr. Tessa Yuvienko, and she actually embodied the ideal online teacher or online speaker because she had lots of energy during the time of her talk. Even though there were some technical difficulties, but she was able to pull through because of her enthusiasm. She actually shared to us some tips on classroom management, referencing it from the World Economic Forum. So here are the slides and the things I got from her talk. Before she shared to us the different tips on classroom management, she made us answer this question: what traditional classroom management strategies would be effective in a virtual learning environment? So we were grouped through the breakout rooms of the Zoom feature, and we answered this question. And some of my group mates answered reporting, storytelling, or even the student's way of excusing himself or herself when he or she wants to go to the CR. So for them, it's still an effective classroom management. And for me personally, I shared how we do it in the junior high school, the dynamic learning programs way, such as the learning activity sheets, the concept notes, and the discussion we usually do. So those were the traditional classroom management strategies. Or there were some strategies there that my group mates mentioned that I totally did not agree, but it's also up to you. Now, let's proceed to the different tips from the World Economic Forum. Number one is design based on your learning outcomes. So even though there's no online distance learning, this number one tip is actually the one we are doing in the face-to-face interaction as well. So we design based on the learning outcomes. We should know ahead of time the learning goal or the end goal in mind. You should have this one. What do you want your students to learn? What do you want your students to apply through the learning? So you really need to know. And based on that, we are going to derive a better activity. We need to derive a better discussion because we already have a goal in mind. Number two is to promote inclusivity. So promoting inclusivity is by designing your activities well. So here, she presented these boxes here. And here, let's just deal with the bandwidth. So the bandwidth is the internet consumption of the student or even the teachers. And when you say immediacy, it means how immediate should the student do the activity. So that's it. Now, so the speaker there recommend the green and the yellow ones, which we are doing in our department already. So we do asynchronous session during our discussions, and we gave them offline. We are giving them offline activities. And we do some synchronous session, but not that often. For number three, impart clear rules of interaction. It's actually for the synchronous session. So you need to have rules of interaction, most especially when you are discussing and you want your students to answer. Okay, so you may want to let your students turn off the microphone and turn on when they are told to do so, or to encourage students to turn on the camera so that teachers and students could do the interaction well. Now, next is set the stage for successful interaction. So here, according to our speaker, that eye contact is very important when you wanted to do interaction with the students. So your eye contact right now is not the screen, but really the camera. So when you are discussing, you take a look on the camera and not your face there on the screen. Another is there are also some recording softwares she recommended, and that's our Prezi videos. In our school, the EdTech team mentioned about the Screencastify, Screenomatic, and you have the ice cream, the Zoom. I am using Zoom right now for my recording of discussion and the Google Meet. So there are a lot of recording features wherein you can record your discussion. Now, the interaction here, of course, in the junior high school department, we know that the interaction is not just limited to oral interaction or oral answers, but even their answers in the formative assessment in their concept note after the concept digest is already an interaction because they are actually answering but in a written way, not in oral. Okay. For number 5, practice makes perfect, or practice makes permanent. So here, that before we proceed to our asynchronous session or synchronous session, she said that it's good also to do the practice. You need to prepare well your activities. You need to prepare well your presentation. You need to prepare well your post activities so that on the presentation it's already a better presentation. Next, be concise and engaging. So she said that you just need to make everything not that long, but you know that your students are engaged in your learning. She made mention of the 10 to 20-minute maximum or the limit of your video discussion. That's how concise should it be. But you know that on the 10 to 20 minutes, your students are already engaged. Your students are already learning in this activity. How to keep the learners engaged? She said that you need to build connection, not only a connection between teachers and students, but also make sure that the learners can connect their learning in the real world. So there is really this application. Next is engage them through your activities. So may it be an activity that could let them perform, activity that could let them do some things, or that they will have an output. And number 3 is to keep them engaged is to let them reflect. So reflection questions or some essays perhaps that could let them reflect their condition right now, the current events that are happening. So engage your students through letting them reflect. And number 4 is stay present. So the staying present there means that there is really the relevance of the activity. So ensuring that the activities you gave on the present of the students, meaning it's the now of the students, and it is something that they would say that this is very important for them. Now, the tip number 7 is to take a break and get moving. So it's also good that you will let your students take a break, most especially when the discussion is too long already, most especially when you are doing synchronous sessions. So you give them a break, you get moving, not just the student, but also you as teacher. When you are already sitting there for some hours, you can take a break and move and do some exercises there that could maintain our physical health. So she mentioned about the 20-20-20 rule. So the 20-20-20 rule is that in every 20 minutes, you take a 20-second break and then focus your eyes on something at least 20 feet away. So that's the rule so that our eyes will be on good condition. And the tip number 8 is use peer interaction to foster community. Making use of some apps such as the Zoom, having the breakout rooms, you can promote peer interaction through that. Activities or performance tasks that could promote some interaction or collaboration with students could also do. So you can make use of that one if it's possible. Or other activities, reflective activities that could help your students share their thoughts and their feelings through their peers. So you can design activities that would promote this. And 9 is asynchronous session tool. So she believed on the asynchronous session actually rather than the synchronous session. And there are a lots of asynchronous session tools that we can make use of. The offline activities we have that's considered the asynchronous offline tools. And Also, the video discussions we have are some asynchronous session. And the last part is rethinking the assessment. Both on the formative assessment and the summative assessment, we need to become more intentional now on what could be a better assessment. Can we still use the multiple choice? All of your tests in one session should be multiple choice. Is it effective? Is it really measuring the learning of the students? So that's rethinking assessment. So I would like to reiterate that in our department is we are following the 60 to 40 assessment, wherein 40% will be for the objective type of questions, the knowledge and the process questions, while for the 60% of our whole test, it would be allocated for the understanding questions, essay writing questions, or something that they could produce, or the higher thinking order questions. So we need to rethink this assessment because again, in online class, it's really prone for cheating. So if we just let the 100% objective type of test in one test, and the answers of the students, we do not know if it's really an honest answer or it's based on cheating as well. Okay, so those are the 10 tips she shared. So she parted with the saying, staying present in your students' present is the invaluable present we can give right now. There are a lot of presents, right? But she just meant that when we need to stay present, we need to be more conscious enough now in our student situation, and that will be our best gift that we could give to our students right now. And she actually made mention of the social emotional aspect of our students because there was one participant who questioned her, are we compromising standards? Now she made mention of the social emotional aspect of our students right now, and that is the most important thing that we need to deal with at the moment, their social emotional aspect, meaning let's keep them sane, let's keep their sanity right now because it's not easy to be confined in the four walls of the house without their friends, without some outlets to share their problems at home and their struggles at home. So bombarding them with lots of activities because you want the quality will for sure give them burnout and exhaustion, not just to the students, but also to the teachers as well. So again, we are going to prioritize the social emotional aspect of our students rather than the standard because she said standards are just there, but their emotional aspect, it's something, it's either we make it or we. So those are the 10 tips on classroom management based on the World Economic Forum, which was shared to us through Dr. Tessa, and I hope you also learn from it. So I'll see you around.